Guess what day it is? We are going to start working on the recreation of the original black silk dress. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Actually, we're going to do the skirt today. I think I'm going to split up the skirt and bodice. But yeah, we're going to work on this today because I got all the stuff in. Surprisingly, a lot of stuff will go into this. The only thing I don't have so far is the hooks and eyes for the bodice. I suppose the skirt as well, but we can do those later. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to hand or machine stitch everything. The original is hand stitched. I prefer to hand stitch. However, when doing the living history, the family I portray had a sewing machine in 1847, so there's no way their dresses were hand stitched from 1847 on if they had a sewing machine. Now there's some things you have to do by hand, but I'm going back and forth between the want to hand sew it and the realization that for what I do, hand sewing may not be the most accurate thing. So I guess we can go ahead and cut it out and then make that decision. So yeah, I guess we're going to go ahead and talk about the math of the skirt, get the silk out, cut out pockets and waistband and whatever else I think we shall need, and then go ahead and get working on the skirt. I have this beautiful, beautiful black silk taffeta that I bought online that came in, and so yeah, I get to work with this lovely stuff today. I don't remember if I got 8 or 10 yards. I think I only need 8, but I may have bought 10. So I think the first step we're going to do is go ahead and cut out the skirt bit. I'm going to test rip it on the very edge to see if I can rip this whole thing instead of having to cut it, because that would make my life so much easier. That worked out pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect on the edges. There's some rippling in there, but I can probably iron that out. And most of that's either going to be in a hem turned under, or it's going to be turned over in the facing. So I think we'll be good. So based on my skirt length, I'm going to cut this 47 inches long because my finished skirt needs to be 41 in the front and 43 in the back, I believe. And I'm going to need some to turn over at the waistband. So I'm going to go ahead and snip this up. I'm going to use 4 panels. This is 40-inch wide silk. It's actually, I think it's 42-inch wide. I don't remember. It's something like that. So we'll end up with roughly a 160-inch round skirt, which is acceptable. So let's go ahead and cut this. And there's a panel. There's 2, 3, 4. Never worry about buying too much silk, because you can always use it for something else. You never know when you're going to need to patch things, or if you're going to gain weight and you need to cut a whole new bodice, or if you want to make some sort of project that requires a little bit of a scrap of silk, covering a parasol. Lots and lots of things you can do with silk. You will use it eventually. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a facing for this, I believe. So I guess I could decide how long I want my facing. Here's some brown polished cotton. This is what we're going to use for our facing today. It's a good bit darker than the original, but it's what I could find, so we're going to go with it. Okay, now we decide how wide we want our facing, because I don't often get the opportunity to look at originals very closely, and this may not rip. And so I'm going to rely upon people who take really good notes. So my understanding is that facings were between 6 and 12 inches long. Let's try it 10. 10 sounds like a really good measurement. And this is our last one. Alright, and I also want 2 pockets in the skirt. I want a skirt pocket to actually put stuff in, and I want a watch pocket because I tend to carry around a pocket watch. And so actual pockets, the pockets you stuff stuff into, are usually made out of lining fabric from the ones I have seen. Now I've ripped this end, so I don't want to cut on this end because I already have this one that's a very nice straight edge. And so I always, when I have a length of fabric like this, I use one edge for ripping and one edge for cutting. Pocket's going to be fun because I don't have the original skirt, and so I don't know exactly if it had a pocket, how long the pocket was. I have a pocket pattern that I sometimes use. It's truly Victorian's. Oh, bustle skirt. And I have no earthly idea where that pattern piece went to. I might remember it was just like a heart, half a heart shaped. Kind of. Maybe like that. I need to sharpen my scissors. And I'm going to go back and look at some originals really quick. I think that watch pockets are usually of the fashion fabric. And if so, I kind of already have one made up out of black silk taffeta. I don't know where this came from. I don't know what skirt it was in and why it got taken out. I've never had a black silk skirt before. But here it is, this little black watch pocket. So that's one less thing I have to make. So I am going to have to change it because I've noticed since I've made this, because I don't know when I made this, that they are curved at the bottom to accommodate the actual shape of the watch pocket. So I'll probably take this apart. In fact, I can go ahead and do that now. And then we'll just put it back together the right way. Okay, so I have 3 pictures of original watch pockets. All 3. It's a great, sample size. But of the 3, 2 of them were out of facing fabric. A light brown to creamish cotton is what it looks like. It was not the fashion fabric, and one was of the fashion fabric. So, because I have evidence, I'm going to go ahead and use this one, because I need to go ahead and use it up. And then I can get out of my sewing box and become useful. So I have 4 skirt pieces. I have 4 facing pieces, which is going to be a little bit longer than I need because the facing fabric is wider than the skirt fabric. So perfect. I have a pocket, a watch pocket, and a waistband. That should be everything I need. What I'm going to go ahead and do is pin together some of the skirt seams to go ahead and stitch those. The next step should be putting the facing up, so just ironing it up and stitching it right here. I forgot to film this part, and so you can see the trimming's already on, but just know when you're making a skirt, after you sew the hem, you fold the facing up, and just do a little running stitch like I did here, across the edge. You don't see the facing from the front side. It's just to kind of catch the abrasion, so like when you're walking, your boot will hit the underside of your skirt quite a bit. This is the part that's going to get in the dirt if you lean back a little bit. And so this can get messy and dirty, and then we can take it off and replace it, but the silk will still be nice and neat. So that is the reason we do this. But yeah, carry on. I think the next clip you're going to see is me putting on the trimming. Okay, the trim is on, and here comes the cat. Hey, I need this. Can I have that back? Okay. Yeah, she loves silk, so she may knock it off. Can I have it back? Here, I'll trade you. Here. Let me get to the rest of the silk, and you can go sleep on that. Come here. Sorry, got her off. So yeah, the trim's on. So I stuck with the 2 layers of trim instead of 3 because there's 2 layers of velvet trim on the undersleeve and then 2 on the upper sleeve as well. So I thought it looked just proportionate to do it by 2s instead of adding a 3rd one in there. Thought it matched better. So yeah, I think the next step is to go ahead and pleat the waistband, and then put or pleat the waist, and then put a waistband on. Oh, and by the way, this is where Miss Pris is. She'll probably stay there till that time, at which point I'm going to have to drag her back into the room, because I don't think she's going to leave willingly. But yeah, at least she's happy. Okay, let's talk about balancing the skirt real quick before we put a waistband on. So what balancing the skirt means is that we have giant rectangles in our skirt. However, the skirt will need to be shorter in the front than it will be in the back because I have a slight bustle. Hoops are never perfectly circular, even in the 1850s. They're always slightly pushed back towards the rear. And so to get that effect, instead of cutting, because cutting the fabric is very permanent, they would instead do something called, so what they would do instead is to take the raw edge of the skirt on the top and fold it under, okay? And then you could pleat on this side or gauge on this side or wherever you need it to be, or whatever you needed. And so to make a skirt balanced, you would fold it over more in the front and less in the back, and that way you still have straight rectangles of fabric, and you don't have to do anything permanent as in cutting them, but you get a skirt that fits you and doesn't look too short in the back or too long in the front where you trip on it. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I just need to do the math. I usually do it over on my the ironing board, and so I will just figure out how long I need it exactly in the front, fold it over, and then do the same in the back and on the sides. And then I will get a perfectly balanced skirt that will fit me really well. But if anything ever happens to the skirt, if I need it to fit somebody else, so say I grow out of it, or if I decide to sell the dress, then the new owner can, if say she's taller than I am, she can take what I've done to unpleat it and then make it longer for her. Or if she's shorter than I am, she can just take much more up. Also, it preserves this raw edge. So eventually, my hems can get really ratted out and look really nasty. We've already talked about replacing the facing, but say I've done that a couple times and it's actually the hem is starting to get really ratty on the silk. What I can do then is flip the skirt, because this skirt does not have a pattern to where there's a definite right side either way. It's just a plain silk. So I can then turn the skirt around, take the raw, nasty edge that was the hem, fold it under for the top, and have this nice, crisp new edge for the new hem. That prolongs the life of my skirt. Now I have trimming on my skirt, so it's going to take a little bit more effort for me to take my trimming and then re-sew it onto the new hem. But that was something that was done in the period, so it just makes the life of your skirt longer. Balancing a skirt, great way. Elizabeth Stewart Clark has a book, The Dressmaker's Guide, and it has some really good, has a really good chapter on balancing and setting skirts. So yeah, if you don't have that book, would highly recommend it. It has a lot of really cool little tidbits on how to make things. But again, looking at originals is always the best way, and this is something that was done in the period. And so I need a finished skirt length of 42.5 in the front and like 44.5 in the back. And so I'm going to go ahead and measure out where I want the center front to be. And I want it right between these two seams. Where'd my pens go? Oh, they're there. Here's my center front. So this part on the other side, I'm going to need, I usually use around 2 inches, and this is just a fold over here. So I'm going to mark this, and then I can find the center back now. Alrighty, so I got that pleated and gauged up. So what I thought we might do next is go ahead and make up this watch pocket very quickly. So so that we can put the waistband on. So that is it. Okay, let's go figure out where we want the watch pocket. So here's the pleated part, and here's the back part with the gauging stitches in them. And then here is the other side. Here's the center front here. So I'm thinking pocket somewhere, maybe right here. Right next to center front. That looks decent. And I should probably mention that I've actually not seen a watch pocket in real life, so I'm not crystal clear on how these are sewn on, particularly from the front. I have a really good picture of an original from the back, and I can see how that was attached, but the front, not so much. I'm just kind of whipping it in there. Something that's going to keep the pleats down. So there's that. That's in there. So that will open itself up, and I put my watch in there. And let's look at the waistband. Then on this half, I'm going to start from this end. And there's Miss Pris enjoying her new silk bed. That cat has most amazing taste, but it's incredibly annoying when I'm sewing. She adores silk. I cannot sew on silk unless I put silk down for her to go sit somewhere else, because otherwise she'll be all up over my project. Silk is her favorite thing in the world. Taffeta is her favorite. She does prefer taffeta to China silk or silk satin or organza or anything else I have. She definitely prefers taffeta, and so she is in her element having a grand old time. So hopefully we can get some work done now that she's occupied. Alrighty, so skirt is done. I put the waistband on and see where it's staged in the back. And that's just attached. Each one of those little tiny pleats is attached to the waistband individually. And then there are the pleats. Get a watch pocket. And then I put on some hooks and eyes. So what I usually do, and I've seen it on an original, a lot of times you'll see two of them, just one in the center, like where the pleats start and then where the facing ends here. But I've seen one where it has three, and I really liked that. I felt like it was more secure, so that's what I do on my skirts. And it's just one way to do your hook snize. So there's 2 on the edge and then 1 just to make sure this doesn't flap over. So I guess I can go ahead and dress out the mannequin and put the skirt on her so we can see what it looks like and say we're done. Alright, it's done. So I actually went ahead and put it on with the original bodice, and you can see how well the silks match. I am insanely proud of that. Like, it's hard. This is a 160-year-old fabric, and I managed to match it nearly perfectly with a modern substitute. And I did that all somehow without feeling any of the fabric and just ordering online. It's just amazing that it still exists. So, very happy with that. But there she is. I think, I back up a little bit. Okay. I really like how the 2 rings, I really like how the 2 on the skirt match with the 2 on the sleeve. I think it makes it look very balanced, makes it look like it belongs at the same dress. Yeah, so it doesn't close in the front, so she's a lot smaller than Edith is. Edith's the dress form, by the way, is her name. And here's a little watch pocket, which really wouldn't be center front, it would really be like right here. But again, I have a bodice that's too small for the mannequin, and the skirts and hoops and petticoats that are too big for the mannequin. So we're just doing what we can here. And here's our lovely pleating. And here's the back. So there's our little gauging bit. It fits really well. So yeah, I'm very pleased with how the skirt came out. And I look forward to working on the bodice. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you next time as we work on the bodice. Hopefully I won't lose so much footage, so you'll actually get to follow along a little bit better. So yeah, thanks for joining me. It's the next day. Look what I found. Yep, she went straight to it. I haven't seen her in a couple hours, so I guess she's been here for a while.